Miley Cyrus. That's new for Sunday Shout Out material.
Yeah, we've not done one of her songs before.
We've not. And definitely no Hannah Montana yet.
No. Hannah Montana.
And no Billy Ray Cyrus yet.
No. I like how you're just putting yets in there.
Yets. Probably never on
Yet.
Hannah Montana or the I think
don't know.
Miley is greater than the sum of either Billy Ray or Hannah Montana.
Opinions.
Right. Opinions, of course. But, you know, valid as they may be, who knows?
So, with this song, with Wrecking Ball, tell me how you feel. I think it should maybe be a different class of song. This song obviously was made very popular by Miley Cyrus, yes.
Yes.
Okay, uncontested. She didn't write the song.
How do you know this?
I looked it up.
Okay.
It was actually a group of 3 songwriters that wrote this song, which I think is actually a really excellent song, and I think her performance of it really embodied the song.
My question though is, are they just songwriters, or is there another recording of this?
I don't know. I didn't do a deep dive for it.
She's from Nashville. Most of the artists here don't write their own songs.
So my question to you is this, though. With an artist, a performing artist, not writing their own music, we were talking about different facets of art last week. Do you feel like it should be a separate thing? Because I feel like her passionate performance of this song really embodied what it was trying to convey.
For instance, you had George Strait, who was well known for not writing his own material, but being able to really pick a good hit for himself. So he had a hand in picking a lot of songs that he performed. But then you also have people like Waylon and Willie who insisted on recording, and they were the outlaw country guys, you know, and recording their own material,
right?
You know, and you have the whole gambit, and I think, you know.
Because it's different than recording a cover if you're the first recording artist.
I think there's danger in it because, for instance, not to pick on Jason Aldean, but since he's come up recently, I think that he picks songs for himself, or he has a hand in picking songs, or his management team picks the songs, versus writing a song. So here's where I think there is danger in this whole thing. I think that the tendency is to pick a song that would be a hit because why not? You want a song that's going to be popular, and you know a lot of musicians want to be famous. So that doesn't mean that can be disingenuous sometimes because you may not pick a song that is exactly like your heart or your motivations. You might slight that to pick something you think is going to be more popular with your crowd instead of writing something. Like when you write something, it's a lot harder to write and sound authentic if you don't believe what you're writing, but it's less difficult to pick a song and perform and pretend and sing a song and act like you care about it than it is to actually write a song that's fake. I would contest.
I'm gonna have to think on that because, for instance, with our song Gypsy River, the body of the song is about an abused person who it's alluded to she's taken things into her own hands.
Story song.
It's a story song, but it's not my story.
No.
It's not even anybody's story that I know. It's not your story, and it's nobody's story that you know. But we wrote that together, and when I sing those lyrics, I do my best to embody that, Yes.
However, when you wrote that song, you used your choice of words and your sense of melody.
Well, when I do a cover, sometimes I change words and sometimes I change melody.
Because that's artistic licensing, but in that course, like these guys can do that too when they cover a song. However, a lot of the overall ideas, word choices, rhyme schemes, selections, melody has been put in place by a songwriter, and at this point, they're just a performing artist.
Well, do you feel like that's a cover song? For instance, with this song, Miley's the one who took it. I mean, I don't know if there's an original recording of it other than a demo.
I think it was written for her.
I think so too, with her in mind at least.
I think like when things are written for that artist, it's a little different because, or together in conjunction. Like I mean, you wouldn't say the Grateful Dead is a cover artist. Like, they didn't write their own lyrics. Robert Hunter wrote most of the lyrics.
Right, for them.
For
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
But he was like,
well, Jerry
actually,
Garcia
like,
did
member
have
of
a
the
big
band.
hand
Well,
in
Jerry
it.
Garcia, yeah, they most of the time they developed the melody and the chords and stuff, especially like a lot of the songs, as far as the musicality of it. So no, I do believe that I find a artist that writes their own songs more trustworthy to me.
Interesting. Okay.
Like, and however, I'm not of the belief like some people are. Like, and I've heard it said that people that don't write their own songs are just glorified cover artists. And I don't believe that to be true. I think
I don't think I do either, because there is such a thing as a performing artist.
A cover artist is trying to duplicate the performance of another individual. These people have made their own performance and then are duplicating it over and over again. So it's the difference of... So, for instance, Black Magic Woman is not a Santana original song.
Right.
However, I don't think he performs that song like a cover artist. He performs it like it's one of his own originals.
Right.
Much like we would do with certain covers that we perform live.
Yes.
And with the Sunday Shout Out, we kind of like walk a weird and interesting line of like, tipping our hat to the original artist, but not selling out to the original artist, I guess, or like, I'm not even selling out, but duplicating.
Yeah.
Because
you can go just listen to them. If you
right,
want
and
to.
that's being artists, we're not, right, it's not competition. I'm not trying to sound like them or sound better than them.
No.
I'm trying to interpret it in my own way.
Right.
And I could really give a flip if I sound anything like the guitarist on Wrecking Ball or any other guitarist.
Is there even a
that we
guitarist
cover.
on there?
Probably not.
I think it's keys, a lot of keys, yeah.
But, it's like I could really care less if I duplicate a lick that another guitar player has performed before me, because I'm beyond that now, And I'm not to say that cover artists... are in a lower place than me. That's not what I mean at all.
Well, there is also
I'm
a difference.
On a different page. I don't have interest in that.
There is a
My
difference
art is
between a tribute cover artist and an artistic cover artist as well,
Absolutely.
because the tribute bands, at least to my way of thinking, they are trying to exactly
Right.
duplicate
They're trying to give
the
you
original
like the experience
artist.
of seeing the original band, which is
Right.
And I have a lot to say about that. I'm very opinionated on tribute artists, and I think. I don't know if we want to go into that today or not. Maybe not. Maybe for another time, because I'll suffice to say, I don't like it. I don't even like it. I don't even like it when the original artist sounds too much like their record when I see them live. I think it's kind of boring. Like, honestly, like, that's been done. Why do we do it again? And, like, the only thing I can come up with is that non-serious music lovers want to relive moments of their past that they identify to that music, because we've seen the Pink Floyd tributes and we've seen other tribute bands, and we've played venues opening for tribute artists, and we've played festivals that had tribute artists on it, and it used to be nonsense that a tribute actually be on a music festival, but nowadays it's becoming more and more commonplace.
I will say, though, some of the tribute artists that we've heard recently, I would class them, instead of a tribute band, more of a cover band dedicated to a specific artist.
They're
because
really
they are
good.
having a license. They are
really good.
deviating
on who
from
you're
the originals.
Following, though, like, I mean, that you can't duplicate the shows anyway because they changed it live.
Right.
But like, still, like, playing all the catalog from one artist. I mean, I'm just here to say I don't get it. Like, and I'll leave it at that for now. But like, we can discuss it more in depth because it's like a whole probably 20-minute discussion or longer. I just don't get it. Like, and I'm not saying as a musician, I get it. Like, as a musician,
As a consumer of art.
as a musician, it is probably pretty fun to play like your favorite artist stuff and
Sure.
have people applaud you for it all night long, and it's got to be pretty gratifying, financially, because it does pay really well because a lot of people want to see this.
Yeah.
But as I'm saying, as a consumer, as a watcher, I don't understand it, and I don't think anybody could ever make me understand it, because I have no delusion that I'm seeing Led Zeppelin when I see
Right.
it. And I have no delusion that I'm seeing the Grateful Dead or Kiss or whoever these tribute acts are.
What about
However,
the licensed tribute acts? Because there are bands that actually will
it's just all the
sell
same
a
for
license to a tribute
It's all the
act.
same for me, and I'm not a hater. Like, I'm not a hater. Like, and, can I go to a bar and sit through a Grateful Dead cover set? Yes, because I like the Grateful Dead. would I pay good money to go see a Grateful Dead cover band perform at a venue? No, I would not, because like I said, like I enjoy the music, but I can play it at home and I can relive my memories. I don't have to.
I feel like the Dead's a really
music.
bad pick for a
The Dead
tribute
is a really
band.
bad pick. Of all the tribute bands that you could
because
possibly
they
go see,
changed
then
so
maybe
much.
I'd go see them.
I think if you were a tribute band trying to do a tribute band for the Grateful Dead, you would have to say, we are the Europe 72 tribute band, and those
Right.
guys are like
Well,
the
thing
spring
with-
of 84
And
tribute
to be fair,
band.
like, okay, so there is a slight difference between Grateful Dead tribute acts and other tribute acts, and that is that usually they just use Grateful Dead songs for their own platform, and the more they stray from what the Grateful Dead did, the more I actually appreciate it.
I agree,
Because it
yeah.
becomes more and more their own thing.
Like, well, actually, by becoming more like their own thing, they become more like the Dead,
But-
because the Dead were not married to
I guess
a
what I'm
format.
specifically talking about, and are the Bruce Springsteen tribute acts, the Fleetwood Macs, the Kiss, where they're not really performing or bringing anything new to the table. What they're trying to do is duplicate an album. Like they're
Okay.
like tonight we're performing Born to Run,
Right.
or tonight we're performing Animals by Pink Floyd, or here we're gonna do the Kiss songs, and they basically are trying to duplicate the album but live. And as I said, I just I
Okay.
don't understand it. It doesn't
Okay.
bring anything for me to
I have a
listen to
question
that.
for you. Along those lines, hey, we're doing a tribute. Here's what we're doing. What about Fish's Halloween? Or was it New Year's that they do
Right, so Halloween.
an entire
They just-
album by a different artist?
Right, so
That's just them having fun?
it's them having fun, but however, they bring something artistically because they're not duplicating the albums. Like,
Right.
they're just doing their own thing.
Right.
And it is fun to do it as a one-off, I think.
I
Because
think so too.
I think that down deep, no matter, everybody has their favorite songs. Everybody has their favorite artist, right?
Right.
But also, one of the reasons that the Sunday Shoutout is successful is because people want certain artists that they enjoy listening to their singing or their performance of music to play. Deep down, every music connoisseur wants their favorite artist to perform their favorite song.
Right. Well, I've
like-
said before, you've heard me say it probably 100 times. Joan Osborne could sing me the phone book and I
Right.
would be happy. I don't care what that woman sings.
So,
that would make
that's
me
part
happy.
of the appeal of the Government Mule to me, because I like a lot. First of all, I love their originals and I adore their band.
Right.
Everything. They could never play a cover and I'd be happy. However,
Their covers are so
when they play a
good.
Van Morrison song and it's one of my favorite songs and it's by one of my favorite bands,
It is exciting in a
it's
different
not
way.
like I'm going, oh yes, play it just like the record.
Right.
So there's a fine line of artistic covers and money motivation, basically trying to duplicate a thing. And to me, you're never going to duplicate the great album. There was already Born to Run, or
Right.
Born in the USA, or I'm picking on Bruce Springsteen. Rumors is a big one, right? Fleetwood Mac, the album
Yeah.
Rumors,
Yeah.
and a lot of Fleetwood Mac covered bands. No matter how hard you try, you're not going to sound like Lindsey Buckingham playing Never Going Back Again.
Only
on
he can do
Rumors.
that,
Only he
yeah.
can do that, and he's the only one I want to see do it. And if
Well, he does
I'm
it.
not going to pay $50 to go see this tribute band, even if there's 500 other people there. I'd rather sit down and have a glass of wine and listen to Rumors on my record player and crank it up nice and loud and turn the lights down low.
I will say a
It doesn't
caveat to
make any
that,
sense to
though.
me.
A caveat to that, though, is with these touring bands, as they stop touring or if the bands have broken up and whatnot, and also it would have to have that artistic bit in there for me to enjoy the show, because I'm not able to go see, Grateful Dead
Right.
with Jerry Garcia
course
because
not.
he's passed. I can't
And
go
we can
see that. I
lament
can't
that,
have that
But
experience.
also we have hundreds of recordings we can listen to
True enough.
and be in that moment.
However, I don't mind going and seeing people wanting to embody that kind of essence of what he left on the stage. I don't, if they bring their own
I think a
artistry
lot of it
to
is a community and they want to see their friends and hang with their friends,
Okay.
But at the same time, given the choice, I mean, would I go to see a Dead cover band if somebody had a ticket and they were a good friend of mine and they asked me to go?
Yeah.
I probably would. Would I go out of my way to buy a ticket and go myself? I would not.
Unless we had a friend in the band, and then I would want to
maybe
support
if there's a friend in the band I support. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a fine line, I think,
I think part of it is for you, just knowing you like I know you, and myself like I know myself. You enjoy the originality of original art. Like, I don't know what
no
way to put
doubt
it.
About
like,
it.
we were talking about the struggle. Like, you identify with the struggle for originality, and that's where you want to put your energy into supporting, because we have a limited amount of energy to support
and
with, right?
I think that performance should be different than the record. I think that if you're just trying to duplicate what you did on your record, then you're not really performing music at that point. You're reciting music, and that's different.
I would agree
Recital
with you,
is different than performance.
Yes.
And I think one of the most disappointing concerts I saw the Eagles on their Hell Freezes Over tour, and I talk about this with a lot of people, and I think this is like my explanation of where I draw the line. It's like they became a cover band of themselves. They toured, and they sounded amazing. It was probably one of them auditorily. It was probably the best mixed and sounding concert that you could ever want.
Could you have hooked up?
That being said,
could you have hooked up a long play record player to a really great stereo system and been able to tell the difference?
I would have been just as happy. Like, I don't, and here comes another like truth bomb that I think a lot of people need to hear, and that is being in the presence of celebrity doesn't make anything better or more important. Just because I was in the same amphitheater as Don Henley does not make the song any better or worse. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have celebrity worship. I don't vote for people because they're famous. I don't think people are great because they had more success than me. So I think that makes it easier for me to separate. Okay, like, no, I could get the same experience listening to a record at home, because literally they were the best cover band of themselves. They were like almost every inflection and every note. I mean, I couldn't tell it apart from the record. And then to top it off, they opened with the one song you would think they would close with. They opened with Hotel California, and of course they have 100 million hits. But at that point, it was kind of like, wow, this is like listening to the Eagles' greatest hits. And at that point, it had been the most expensive ticket that I'd ever paid for. And I was like, no, man, I'll take Santana every time, because... And up until that point, I'd probably seen about maybe 20 concerts, so I hadn't seen a lot of concerts. And I feel
like that's a lot of concerts.
And I'll tell you, well, maybe, and I'll tell you that maybe, at that time, the best concert I had seen, I saw Santana at Old Orchard Beach Ballpark, and I was a big Santana fan, had probably 6 or 8 records of Santana at the time, and I listened to him front to back many times, almost every single day. And he played one song in 2 hours that I knew, and that was the best concert I'd ever seen to that point. And it wasn't, and I'm not one of those people that's like, I just like stuff because it's new, because it takes me a while to identify with stuff. There's certain songs that I don't like, and then all of a sudden I do, because they kind of work their way into my brain.
Right, yeah.
So it wasn't like, it was just like, okay, cool, it's so cool because he's not playing anything I know. It was kind of like, oh, hopefully the next song I'll know. But then, by the middle of the song, I'd be like, oh my God, these guys are so amazing. Like, what is happening? This is so crazy. Like, the conga player's going off, and, Santana's jamming, and the drummer's just nuts, and keyboard player's like wailing, and I'm just like, this song's great. I don't know it. I want to know it. It's amazing, you know? And then the next song.
So he sold you on his new music,
and it wasn't even new music. It was just like all these deep cuts and weird stuff. And I mean, I couldn't even name a song he played today, He didn't play Black Magic Woman that night, which was the only time I saw Santana. And he didn't play Black Magic Woman. Of course, this was before all of his hits, with the supernatural stuff.
Oh, yeah, and
stuff. This was
90s.
back in the day when his biggest hits were like Evil Ways and Jingo and Black Magic Woman.
Really good music.
Yeah, really good, solid music from the 70s.
On another note, his biography is a great book if you guys are readers. Really good book.
So, but yeah, no, I think it's a fine line, and I think we talked more about the tribute acts than I wanted to.
The cover band. It's okay. I know you have a lot to say on it, but I still question. Okay, so we definitely have performing artists, cover bands, tribute bands, original artists performing their original music. There's a lot of different facets to writing and producing and
it's all
being
artistry.
a musician.
I mean, there's
yeah.
so much artistry to it, and it gets to be so much that maybe sometimes you want to take a hand off, you know, and then there's other people that want their hand in like everything all the way down to the finished product.
Right.
You know?
Well, I do know of like there was a little bit of controversy because it's Miley Cyrus didn't write this song, but she was going through a breakup, a very publicized, sadly, breakup at the time, and I feel like sadly that influenced her performance, which was really excellent. I hate that she was going through heartbreak, where this was the song that
I think,
really.
Though that, you know, this is like a completely different thing, but like, in a worldly sense, I don't think you can perform like any type of sad music honestly unless
Without
you've gone through a breakup or had some type of sadness.
Yeah, that's why I think this song was so poignant.
You know, when I was really a teenager, and it was like their music was cool, but like it was always missing something to me. Like, you know, it's 15 and 16. It's hard to have a worldly view that inspires the blues, and you know,
right.
And we had those blues phenoms, you know, that were really young.
You can hear it and enjoy it, but to really.
It's really like the blues music progresses and their soul progresses, you know. So I think that you can get so technically proficient, you know, you can get super technically proficient, but in order to express from your heart and connect with people on like a level of the soul, then you've had to have some type of worldly, you know, experience that. It's not unique. It's actually common to everybody, you know, so people can relate to you.
That's why it's relatable,
you know,
yeah.
So it's relatable, but, you know, sometimes just the babes, you know, they don't necessarily have this thing that I identify with, you know.
Yeah.
But then I'll go back and listen to them later or see them later. A good example of that is Johnny Lang. Like, he had a song, Lie to Me, when I was really young. And it was a pretty cool song. It was a radio hit. It was catchy, you know, but to me it lacked depth in it. You know, I never bought his album.
Right.
And then a couple of years ago, somebody had tickets to see him, and he was in his 30s, you know, or maybe early 40s. And I was like, oh, wow, this guy's still around, you know. And I went and saw his concert, and it was incredible. And it was, like, honest, and it was great. And, you know, maybe...
I will say, too, like, again, with the artistry, there are studio bands and there are live performance bands where sometimes what happens in the studio, if we're talking budget or time constraint, like you've got all these things in place that can prevent you from really giving your greatest performance like you might give at a live show.
Absolutely. That's like a whole...
It's a completely different thing.
We're not getting into that, too. We're going to have to talk about that later.
Too long. So we accidentally did the chat on Monday of this last shout out.
Yeah, and we're thinking about kind of holding it back for a little bit. Anyway.
We're thinking about maybe doing that on purpose.
Or releasing it Sunday afternoon.
Or Sunday afternoon. So
sure.
Basically
there's
we're
space in between.
We're trying to figure out the algorithm still so that the people that want to just see the music get there, and they can just get there without the rigmarole of having to click on the wrong video, and we keep the view time high and all the technical things.
For sure.
So we'll try it maybe Sunday afternoon, maybe comment, Monday. Let us know when do you want to see the chat. Yeah.
Share. Let your friends know about us, like if you like what we're doing. It's a lot of fun talking to you guys every Sunday and Monday and trying to catch up. I know we don't always catch up right away, but we try to catch up on all the comments.
Yeah, we read them all for sure.
Absolutely. Have a good week.
Yeah. Hey friends, Ashley of Sugar Lime Blue here. I wanted to draw your attention to something we've started doing on our Facebook. We've been featuring one of our special Sugar Lime Blue tie-dye t-shirts weekly. Here's an example of one of them. You guys seem to be enjoying this, so we're going to keep it up for a little while. So make sure you're looking for us on Facebook with our special weekly Sugar Lime Blue tie-dye t-shirts.